What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are back at Dick Love It in Bristol, taking out this R18. Before we get into it, let's roll the intro. Before we get onto the bike and start riding it, let's just look at this. Size of that engine sticking out. BMW's biggest boxer engine, 1800cc, and you can see why. This bike, similar to Suzuki, won't start up even if it's in neutral. Need to pull the clutch in, and there she goes. See the handlebar shaking from here. This bike doesn't come with all the wizardry that you'd expect with some of the other BMWs. This is stripped back. This is designed by BMW just to be that cruiser. Simple, easy, push the button, start it up and ride away. Sitting on it then, I'm 6'1", seat height 690mm. It's short, it is low. As you can tell, I've got both feet flat on the floor and a really good bend, and I can stand up straight off the bike. You do feel the weight between your legs. 345 kilos. It isn't light. Once you do get going, because of that low slung engine, actually the handling is quite nice and it's quite smooth, but at stationary it is going to get heavy. You're definitely going to feel that weight when trying to move it around. But hey, let's start riding. The key is in my right jacket pocket, and it does need to be quite close to the front of the bike just for it to register it. Remember, clutch doesn't need to be pulled in. Look how much that moves in between your legs, and it's just in neutral. If you're looking at buying this bike, there's going to be one or two reasons. One, it's that engine, 1800cc, it's a big boy. And then the second one is how this bike makes you feel. When there's next to no electronics on a bike, it's the character of the bike that will come through, that will do it for you. Make sure you keep watching to the end of the video, because I will be comparing this to my Harley Davidson Fatbob. On paper they are pretty similar. Let's see how they compare to each other today though. Bit of city riding, 30 miles an hour. When you are slower, 20-30 miles an hour, you do feel that weight trying to move it over left and right. This bike definitely comes a little bit more livelier and handles nicer when you are pushing it on a little bit. As you can tell, the weather is pretty grim today. Don't want to be pushing it too hard. This bike does come with 3 rider modes. It is currently set in rain, and then the other 2 is rock and roll. Roll is going to be your more standard ride. Rock is when everything becomes a little bit more livelier. In rain, so far I'm in 2nd gear, and the throttle response is really nice, it's really smooth, it's gradual, it's not going to catch you out. That rear wheel is not going to start spinning up. It's exactly what you need in a weather like this. If you start getting up in the rev range, there's going to be quite a lot of vibrations, handlebars, pegs and the seat. Easiest way to mitigate that is obviously going up in the gears. Sometimes you don't have that luxury. When you're getting in the twisties, you want to have it down in that lower gear, just so you got that little bit more throttle response. But 40 miles an hour, 4th gear, can't feel any vibrations. So when you are just cruising along, have it in the higher gear and there's going to be no problems. What I really like about the R18 is if you go onto BMW's website, you've got the ability to change the base model first. There's about 5 or 6 different models, and they're going to range from having saddlebags, a normal screen at the front, to saddlebags with a back box with a massive chunky fairing like you find on your typical Harley, or you can strip it down and have a bobber style. You've got that flexibility to how you want the bike to look, and then you go further into the configurator and there's loads of extras that you can add onto this bike. I won't list them all, but some of the options are going to consist of heated grips, cruise control, adaptive headlights. One thing I think is pretty cool is you can get a reverse gear for this bike. Like I said, 345 kilos. If you're parked on something that's not flat and you're on a bit of an incline or the ground's a little bit dodgy, having that reverse gear can actually save you a bit of hardship. There's also an electric one, so there'll be like a little lever down on your left hand side. So start the bike up, put it into reverse and then use a throttle like normal. Looking at the ergonomics of this motorcycle, the seat you are quite low into the bike. I don't particularly find that kind of style comfortable, especially if you're sitting for long periods of time. Where you've got the boxer engine massively sticking out on the left hand side, I actually do find sometimes I hit the bottom of the casing when I go to change gear, or more importantly when I'm at a standstill and I'm pulling away from, say, a traffic light, I'm kicking it as I'm bringing my foot round. It's just muscle memory. I'm sure if I was to own this bike it would become second nature, but obviously this is only a demo ride, and that's definitely something I do notice straight away. The handlebars do seem fairly comfortable. The seat's quite long, so you can actually adjust your seating position. That will then help the reach to the handlebars. Even though this is BMW's Cruiser, it doesn't come with any form of wind protection. Obviously this one, like I said, you can get different model lines that will have different types of protection, but on the motorway it wasn't too bad. I'm kind of used to it with my Harley. Long distance, you are going to start feeling the strain on your arms and your top half. It's something you either get used to or you'll end up adding a fairing, especially if you are going to do a bit of touring. I've only been on this bike about 45 minutes or so. I am starting to find my bum's getting a bit numb. Alright, I've got my day sack, and that's going to have about 10-15 kilos in. I'm not the lightest lad, as you can tell, but still, even without the day sack, I could see after an hour or so this seat would definitely start giving me some sore spots, and I'll be looking for a little bit of a rest. Seeming it's meant to be a cruiser. For me, one thing you need when cruising is a comfortable seat. Going to put it into roll. Roads are starting to dry up a little bit. See if we can feel any difference in the throttle response. As you'd expect, with a seat height of 690mm, there's not a lot of ground clearance on this bike, so when you do start getting into the twisties, you are going to start scraping these pegs. And from personal experience from the Harley, I end up catching my feet and sometimes ripping my my foot off. It does hurt. You can get footboards. That's something I would personally add on to a bike like this. Makes it a little bit more comfortable as well. One thing to note with this bike, personally, the brakes are absolutely tonk. The front brake, you need 2 fingers just to get it anywhere, and you don't feel like you're going to stop sometimes, so you're going to have to use a lot of rear brake just to make sure you stop in time. When you start getting on it, there are a lot of vibrations. Like I said, unless you're in 6th gear and just cruising, then you're fine. If you're in 4th or 5th, getting on it in the twisties, there's a lot, especially through the bum, and it's not comfortable. We've got those twin low slung exhausts either side with a little fishtail on the end, a little bit different. If you're like me and bikes like this without quick shifters, when you downshift, you blip the throttle, you will notice the bike rock you back and forth quite harshly almost. Look how much that moves. All I'm doing is holding the clutch in and just blipping that throttle. The current bike I am riding from Dick Lovett's is the R18 first edition model, but the standard R18, no thrills, no spills, no bags or anything, is going to set you back £17,450. You can have a couple of different colour options other than the stock black one. They do have some funky names, but in essence, you've got the red and you've got the green. They're both going to set you back an extra £350. And then from there, you've got the white and Galaxy Dust. They're both going to set you back over £1,000 to add on. Like with all bike brands, there are some haters of the Harleys out there. There's going to be a few different options if you want a cruiser that isn't a Harley. You've obviously got this. You've got the Triumph Rocket 3. You've got the Triumph Bobber. And then you can move into the realms of like the Indians. Some people love the reliability of BMW and their dealership, so this is definitely a viable option if you are after a cruiser. Like I said earlier, when you start pushing the bike on, that's when actually it starts to handle really nicely. You kind of forget how much weight is behind it. Pulled over, do a quick walk around of the bike, show you around it, and then do a sound test. Without a doubt, the most visually pleasing part about this bike is this boxer engine sticking out massively both sides of the bike. I did say I didn't think much of the brakes, and I can say for your casual riding, I still don't like them, but put it into this little lay-by here. If you want to get on the brakes, as in grab a fistful, it will stop, it will do its job, but we don't brake like that regularly, so sorting out the brakes would be something that I'd look at doing if I had this bike. And there we go, that's one of the twin exhausts, so one either side with that fishtail end. We do have the bobber style seat, so the single seat on the back, you can get a twin seat. It does rock, LEDs all around. As I mentioned, you can add in the adaptive headlights, and that will give you daytime running lights as well. This is definitely a no thrills bike in the sense of technology. It's just a big engine, and this is going to be something for your Sunday ride. You just want to go out, you want to chill out, but if you do get in the twisties, you can still have a little bit of fun, but that's not what this is for. As you can see, shaft driven, no need for any chain maintenance. Another little perk. Sound test of this beast. Just look at how much it wobbles, just stationary right here in neutral. That's enough walking around, do some more riding. Other than the big ass engine sticking out either side, we've got this quite fairly big tank. Fuel tank coming in at 16 litres with an estimated range of 180 miles. Sadly though, there is no fuel gauge, only a fuel light. If you do want to track your fuel, you're going to have to reset the trip every time. If you're just looking for a Sunday bike to go out and chill out on, this could definitely tick the boxes. If you don't get the bike too high in the rev range in the gears, very little vibrations. Handle's nice enough. Just don't get it too tight in the twisties. And a fuel range 150 miles, let's say, if you run a little bit more spirited. Is this what you would call though a proper cruiser? Could you go cruising? Could you go long distance? I don't know, maybe a few tweaks, maybe a few changes, and it's definitely got the potential to handle it. The 1800cc engine in this bike doesn't produce the most horsepower. It's only pumping out 91 horsepower, but the figure you want to be looking at is the newton meters of torque. 158 newton meters of torque. That is why this bike, first, second, third gear, from low down in the rev range, can just pull. It's the torque. Don't worry about the horsepower, that is negligible. It's the grunt, it's the pulling power of this engine. That's where the excitement lies. I did say at the start I was going to compare this to the Harley Davidson Fatbob. So let's look at the figures. Cost. Harley 19 grand, this 17 and a half. The Harley has 93 horsepower, this one's got 91. Similar to this, the Harley does punch out 153, I believe, newton meters of torque. And the one I've got is the 114 or the 114 Milwaukee 8 engine. That's 1865 cc. So very similar to this, very similar numbers, and they both just pull from that low end. I prefer the rumble and the grumble and how that engine feels over this one. The way the boxer engine sits and lays is very aggressive, moves the bike like that when you're starting to blip down the gears. Harley doesn't do that, it just gives you that really nice grumble and that feel. This seat height 690, Harley 710, 20 centimeters in it. Still very similar seating positions and ergonomics, where you kind of quite low down in the seat. Once again, not much between the two bikes in that department. I do find with the Harley, with the lack of wind protection, just like this, when I'm on the motorways or I'm starting to get a bit more spirited, I'm having to really hold on to the handlebars, and I do get a lot of strain on the arms and the top half, because That bike just pulls a little bit more than this, I'd say. Even though this has got a little bit more torque, the way that Harley builds into it is just a little bit better, I'd say. Obviously, when I say about ergonomics, this has got your pegs quite underneath, quite central to your knees, straight underneath them. The Harley, they are a little bit more out there, so it takes a little bit more getting used to when you're at traffic lights and you're putting your feet onto the pegs. But the same as this, where the engine sits, it takes some muscle memory to remember not to kick the engine. I'd say handling wise and what I like to call flickability, very similar. It's surprising though, because the Harley's weight is only 306, so this has got just under 40 kilos more than Harley, but yeah, handling wise pretty similar. The Fatbob's brakes are definitely better than the R18s. I don't have any issues. I don't worry about when I'm going out and I'm starting to get into the twisties, into the spirited riding, shall we say. I'm not concerned. I'm not going to be able to brake and stop in time. Whereas this, you've just got to remember to kind of grab your fistful if you need to stop. Absolute no dramas overtaking on this little bad boy. That was 4th gear, roll on, straight past it. Other than two completely different engines and a little bit of extra cost on the Harley side, what I personally would buy, if I had the money just sat there, I'm going to pick the Harley. Sorry BMW, Harley gets my vote on this one. But like I said earlier, there's a lot of people that don't like Harleys, but they want a cruiser. This is definitely going to be on their test ride list. Gearbox is pretty smooth in this. There's no massive clunks when it's going up or down the gearbox. You do find in the rock rider mode, throttle response when you're riding like this, 20 miles an hour, 2nd gear, it is a little bit choppy. It is a little bit on off. Mode button on the left, push it a couple of times, there we go, we're in rain, and then it just smooths it out. So do that very initial pickup when you're off the throttle and then onto it, the first 10%, you feel a little bit of movement, but nothing like it is in rock. That is very on off. Let me know in the comments box below, have you got an R18, and if so, which model did you go for? Did you go for the base? Did you go for the bobber? Did you get any bags? What's your thoughts and opinions on it? One of the biggest things I don't like about my Harley is the seat, stock seat. I've changed it to a Renegade single solo seat, and that's pretty similar. Is the back where it goes up the bum is very severe. It's got quite a steep incline, and so for that I find I'm kind of sitting on my coccyx rather than on my bum, and it's not comfortable. I do about an hour and I'm ready to get off. Like I said, this seat isn't the most comfortable. I do get some hot spots and the vibrations that come through it, but I'm not sat on my coccyx. There's no pain, unlike the Harley where there is. Rain mode, 20 to 60 roll on. Just because it's smooth and on the throttle doesn't mean it's slow. You could almost leave it in road mode all the time just so you've got that smoothness in the throttle, but then as soon as you get into the nationals, you just twist that wrist and she'll go. For a bike of its size and weight, you can definitely have some fun. Really got to be careful, having in the back of your mind about the ground clearance. Don't want to start scraping those pegs too much because they might dig into the ground and fling you off. This bike may have twin exhaust with fishtail tips, but I do feel like it is lacking in a bit of sound. It's not too bad when you start getting up in the rev range, but when you're just cutting around town, doing your slow 20-30 miles an hour, it sounds pretty gutless. Can't be going full throttle everywhere. And there we go, that has been my first ride review on the BMW R18 for 2022. Review videos wouldn't be possible without this channel sponsors. So today, Dick Lover in Bristol, thank you very much for letting me take this bike out. If you're interested in watching my Harley Davidson Fatbob first ride review, click on this link here. And until the next one, ride safe.